Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kanyinsola. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you are coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you. It has been a weird week, so I wonder how you're all doing. I genuinely want to know, how are you doing? Because for me, it's been a weird one. It's been a bittersweet one. So on one hand, I turned 24. I joined a new age, whoop, whoop. And so did my mum actually. Our birthdays are like 5 days apart. So that was nice. Then on the other hand, the world is basically in turmoil right now. And I sit on the intersect of being a dark-skinned, black, Nigerian, British woman. So when I'm observing, I had to take a step back because I was just getting so much information overload, information overload, information overload. I had to like be like, this is a lot right now. And I had to take a step back and just observe for a few days, because when you look at the history of it, it's really heavy. It's really, really heavy. And then not only that, so I'm dealing with things in the UK, in America, and then in Nigeria. So as I said, I sit on like different intersects, right? So I've got to deal with colorism, I've got to deal with racism, I've got to deal with misogynoir, then I've got to deal with gender-based sexualized violence. All in one identity. Hey. That is why I had to take a step back, because I was like, this is too much. And the thing about me is I'm not going to now scramble to give you guys lists of black creators and black people to support, because if you've been paying attention to anything about my YouTube channel, you would know that that was the whole purpose. For me, I feel like it doesn't really change anything that I've been doing, because I've always, without a shadow of a doubt, been for us, by us. In every aspect of my life, that has been the goal. At work, at home, in my social spaces, online, that is what I have done. So I don't really, there's nothing for me to now come and now be telling you to do that I haven't done before. There's nothing. There's nothing. I have been doing this for years. So I don't have the energy to now compile a list of all the black people you should be following, because if you watch my favorites video, who are there? Black people. But every facet of my life is centered around my identity. I don't ever separate myself from my identity. It wouldn't make sense to. So I'm not about to use Black Death to now all of a sudden be propping up things that should have been propped up. Especially if you're a black person, if you know enough about your history, you should have been on job. You should have been on job. It shouldn't have taken you police murder to now start celebrating us. We should always be celebrating each other, because we have too much stacked against us to not do that. But yeah. This video is gonna be very slow paced. I'm gonna take my time with it. I'm not rushing anywhere with this one. I'm going to take my time. Because I'm still processing a lot of what's happening. I'm still having to relive a lot of trauma from what's happening. Like I said, I sit on a lot of intersects, so there is a lot of trauma on just more than one level. So yeah, I'm gonna take my time to process it. One of the earliest points that I can really pinpoint to experiencing racism was when I was younger. I was literally less than 8 years old, and we went to a night vigil. And a group of racists literally thought it was okay to tear gas. Obviously, it was a full church, mostly filled with women and young children. So for me, this goes way back. This goes all the way back. I can tell you so many different experiences, but that wouldn't help us get to the solution, because I'm just reliving my trauma for what? I'm not doing that. And my thing is, black culture, black history is too rich for this to just be the starting point. This isn't the starting point for me, in my personal opinion, because this is 400 years of us seeking emancipation and equality at all levels. At all levels. This has been going on for years. This can't be the starting point, because until I see sentencing, until I still see some abolition and reform, yeah, we're still where we need it. We're still going to have to come back here in a year's time. Bet my word. You know, there's a saying, you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. I think that saying is BS, and that's why we're still here, and that's why we still think that things are going to change, even though there's been no reform, no abolition, no sentencing, nothing has actually changed. Every time we think someone's getting charged, we think, oh, we've won. That's not what it means. That saying about working twice as hard is just false. The reason why I say it's false is that why should I trust a system that requires me to work twice as hard in order to get half as much? Does that not tell you that the system is a lie? Does that not signal to you that the system that you're trying to work twice as hard for is rigged? You can't work in a system that is not for you. I'm not working twice as hard for shit. I don't trust your system that makes me have to work twice as hard. What type of stupid system is that? Why am I being asked to work twice as hard against white supremacy? Someone make it make sense, because it's not making sense. I've been seeing so many posts explaining what Black Lives Matter means. Black Lives Matter movement started in 2013. If it's taking you 7 years to understand the meaning, the sentiment behind it, you will never ever understand it. So I'm not going to sit here explain. And this is the thing, I think, paraphrasing what Toni Morrison once said, she said, as Black people, we end up spending too much time explaining our humanity to people who will never see it for us. That it takes us away from the work we need to be doing. I've seen so many people, friends alike, that are just like, this is what it means. It doesn't mean that all lives are. I don't care to explain my humanity to you. You're being purposely obtuse. If you think I'm going to sit here and explain to you that, oh, this is what my life means and this is what this statement means, I ain't doing it with you. I ain't got your time. I've got work to do, babes. We have to redirect the energy from explaining to people who actually purposely do not want to understand what you're talking about. Stop explaining. I'm done with the explaining. I'm not doing it. Which brings me to my next point. I think it's a load of absolute crock BS that we have to suffer a system that we didn't even create. Then we have to relive the trauma to explain it to people that who purposely don't want to understand. And then we have to dismantle the system that we did not create and we do not benefit from. So you mean to tell me I have to do all the work, all the emotional labor, all the systematic labor? I have to do all of it. No, we must do this work together. We will actually do this work together. You will also do this work, because you cannot expect us to do everything. Not understanding how it is up to Black people, especially Black women. It feels to me as if we are doing all the labor to dismantle it, and the people that are really benefiting from it are stum. They're just, I don't know, for me this is really bittersweet, because on one hand, we are finally getting our flowers, we're finally getting people doing things, but on the other hand, it feels like, why did it take you so long to recognize our humanity? Why are people just doing this work now? That is just, it's so painful, because some of the people and companies that people have been promoting have been here for years. You knew about them for years. You knew about them. And no one shared, no one promoted. Everyone was silent until Black Death happened. That in itself is something we need to stop. We should be supporting each other in life, not just death. It shouldn't take for brutality for us to stand together. It shouldn't have to be like that. I'm worried that if this is the only time that humanity sees us, then you will never understand how we're just people. You will never get that part. You won't understand that we're just human beings, because it's only taking for you to see us in our trauma for you to actually even acknowledge our presence. That's what it's taking. I've been seeing a lot of people saying, oh, I'm getting more followers, and mostly white people who are following me. So now in my head, I'm thinking, y'all are not going to be genuine with that following you're just giving us now. Because what it means is that you will probably just only expect us to talk about racism, and you don't anticipate that we might just be normal human beings who go to concerts, who cook food, who hang out with our families, who don't center our lives just around trauma, but also around joy. So then what happens is you're constantly waiting for us to be in a traumatic episode before you feel like you can see our humanity. You're not going to give us genuine engagement. You're not going to actually see us for just everyday beings who wanted the same equality. You're going to be seeing us as mules You're going to end up seeing us as mules for the work and for the guilt that you felt over the years that, oh my God, how could I just ignore this person? Now I'm seeing there's been an influx of people talking about Black lives, like we just landed on planet Earth. And I'm also seeing Black men talk about, Black Lives Matter, but they don't even respect the Black women in their lives. Like, how ironic is that? The only Black man in the public eye that has been saying Black Lives Matter that I feel like I can genuinely trust the intent is John Boyega, because everybody else on a normal day, you are colorist, you dismantle the Black family yourselves with your own two hands, and you want me to believe that Black Lives Matter. Okay. That's not genuine, because if you say Black Lives Matter, it should be all facets of Black lives. You don't get to be homophobic, transphobic, and then sit and say Black Lives Matter. You cuss out darker skinned sisters, but you want to be telling me that Black Lives Matter. It's only when it benefits you that you want to say Black Lives Matter. On a normal day, you do not give a crap. So until you can dismantle that thought, don't believe in your Black Lives Matter little post. I don't. Because you don't actually exemplify that for your day-to-day life. A lot of you are full of BS. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I tell you, this week has been bittersweet. It's not even a joke, because I've gone through so much in this life, from having classmates deny the benefits of slavery for the Industrial Revolution. I had to defend myself. No one else backed it. It was me that had to do the work. To also having to defend myself against racists, and then my non-Black friends would be silent. It would make me feel like I'm the disruptive one or the problematic one. All of a sudden, everybody's got a nice little paragraph to talk about Black Lives Matter. Where were you? Where were you? Where were you when a Black woman needed you? Honestly, it's bittersweet, because I'm just like, some of you have never done anything like to support the Black women in your lives. The amount of times when I was at uni, I used to hold events for Black people, about Black people, and the people that I'm seeing posting things on social media never came. I can only count a few people that knew me back then that actually attended. They never spoke up. They never said anything. But all of a sudden, because you know that the world is on your side, you want to talk. But when your close Black friend was doing the work, you were silent. I believe in the saying, speak the truth even if your voice shakes. I don't know who's came up with that. Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. The fact that it's taken for you to feel like you're not going to get backlash in order to speak up against racism says a lot about you. Why did it take you for the whole world to be on your side? Speak up even when no one is on your side. Even if it makes other people feel uncomfortable, speak up. For me, I'm pissed off that some of you had the opportunity to really show that Black Lives Mattered and you were not there. You weren't there. So I will never forget. The North remembers, bruv. The North remembers. I'm not forgetting all of you people. I'm watching every single one of your actions very closely, because I'm like, okay, you've done the public statement. Let's see if your words back it. Because when I've had every single time I've had to back myself against racist people, no one has said shit. But it's okay. All of you now, this is cool. I just want you to keep up the momentum. Don't ever let this momentum drop. Every week, I want to be seeing this, because not everybody's going to get tired. It's the end of week. This is week 1 or 2. Let's see what happens. Because for me, I don't need to put a square on my Instagram to let you guys know. If you know me in my day-to-day, I don't need to prove shit to anyone. I don't have anything to prove because I'm there. Also noticing that there's an influx of people trying to capitalize off Black death, which makes me feel a bit sick, because it's like everyone now feels like this is the time to get more followers and subscribers, and I'm just like, y'all are something else. There is no integrity, no principles, no nothing. But you do you, boo. You do you. You do you. I see you. And then we also have people policing others on how to process this, and I'm just like, what? How dare you? Like, are you the leader of this movement? People can protest in many different ways. There are more than one ways to protest. So yeah, enough of that. In Nigeria, when loads of women were protesting against rape and sexual abuse, I remember seeing clips of the protest, and women were in the market protesting, and the men in the market spaces were like, "We must touch. We will do this. We." And I felt so sick to my absolute stomach, because the whole point of a protest is to look for change. It's to seek change, and it's like the people you're trying to seek change from don't see it for you. Do you know how painful that is? So painful, so heartbreaking. Words can't even describe. It can't even describe. So even when we are talking about solutions, we have to think about who we get seeking the solutions from. Because I've seen some people emailing MPs, and some of the MPs have replied, "All lives matter." Do you know how flipping aggravating that is? That's why I say that it's a systemic thing. Some of the solutions I have might seem a bit radical, but I feel like abolitions need to happen, reform needs to happen, and real power structures need to shift. You cannot have this, you can't plead to a system that does not see your humanity. I'm not working twice as hard for shit. You need to break down the system that requires me to work twice as hard. I'm not doing that with you, because that's the devil's game. I'm not playing that game. Some of the things that I think might be solutions require us to look after our mental health. I feel like I've noticed a lot of people, their mental health has taken such a hit, mine included. I think looking after our mental health is so important. Taking a break when you need to, reaching out to friends and family, journaling. Journaling is the best. When I tell you, it's like letting go of everything and every nook and cranny that you can't even explain, and just putting it all on a piece of paper, and somehow it makes sense at the end of it. Journal if you can. Look after yourselves. Realize that you do not have to be a martyr sometimes, because other people have been martyrs before us. I really advise you guys to start speaking up. Don't be if you're working in a company that means you can't even talk, speaking up in uncomfortable spaces. I used to be part of the Black Social and Political Society at my university, and we used to have this thing called uncomfortable conversations, and we'll just be speaking up about things that we don't normally feel comfortable with. So normalize the speaking up. Normalize it. Say what you need to say with your whole chest, and feel no way about it. If you can't speak to your bosses about this, then I think you're working in a system that is upholding what you're trying to break. But then again, you might also have a system or workplace that allows you to speak about this and actually bring forth changes. So speak up. Don't be ashamed to speak up in uncomfortable safe spaces. Like just this past week, I've had 3 different meetings that I've had to use my voice. Emails have been sent. We need to start spending money in our community purposely, intentionally. We need to do it. All the art in my house, that art you're seeing there was by a Black woman. All the art in my house is by a Black woman, apart from one. That was a Black man who made that. We need to spend money within our community a lot more. We really do. But at the same time, it's not always going to be about spending money in our community, because if you know anything about Seneca Village and Black Wall Street, we did do that, and some people didn't like it and they tore it down. So like I said, we need to turn the system over. It needs to change. Like I said, the whole system needs to flip, because we have done it before where we spent our money and we put our money where our mouth was, and then what happened? They didn't like it, they broke it down. So clearly, just Black economy is not going to be enough. We need a whole systemic change. And that's probably part of why I'm so exhausted, because it feels like that's the same with Nigeria. We need a whole reform of senators. A senator was caught on video just last year assaulting a woman, and he's still in power. Does that not let you know that the whole system needs to change over there too? So I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. They need to kick some people out and start again. Start from scratch. If it needs to happen, it needs to happen. Because evidently the world is literally reaching boiling point. Boiling point, mate. So clearly things aren't working. Things need to change. Let's actually see, because at this point I am knackered. I feel like, you know, when you've tried everything and they're still not listening. So clearly it's not us. It's not us anymore. It's them. You've been doing the work. So yeah, y'all need to do the work at this stage, because clearly is it going to take another black person dying before people start listening? Because that's what this is all signaling to me. And be strategic in everything we do. Have strategy, because I'm seeing some people just emailing their bosses anyhow, or just email, like, have strategy. Have strategy. Don't just think we're gonna win this through just snapshot decisions. We need to think strategic. We need to move strategically. You can probably tell by this video that I'm exhausted by this. You can probably absolutely tell. I am exhausted. I mean, it's okay for me to be exhausted. But at the same time, the answers aren't just with black people. I feel like white people need to do their jobs too. Not just even white people, non-black people as well. So well done to you guys for finally like acknowledging that this shit exists, but also what are the next steps? I'm so tired. I don't even know what to say anymore. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, share. But ultimately, look in the description box and make sure you look at the donations and the petitions, things that you can do. Yeah. I'm exhausted, so peace out, guys. Peace out.